Chapter 4 Towards the New Theology of Cardinal Wojtyla. A First Glance. The so-called New Theology originated before Vatican II. It means the break with the philosophia perennis, thus with the entire tradition of classical theology, and in addition the attempt to combine theology and modern philosophical thought. The theology of Cardinal Wojtyla, former professor of philosophical ethics at Lublin University, has its theological roots not in the system of traditional theology, but in the approaches of phenomenology and existentialism. The Cardinal even takes pains to reconcile Thomistic tradition with modern thought towards a more complete synthesis, in which he proceeds not from the ontological foundation of the philosophia perennis, but from the principles of modern philosophy, so that the classical philosophy and theology go under existentialist transformation. We can thus state at the outset, the theology of Cardinal Wojtyla, based on its language and philosophy, belongs to the genus of New Theology. This New Theology should be understood and interpreted according to its own way of thought. The main sources for this are selected texts from Vatican II, on which the Cardinal elaborates according to his understanding of the Council. The retreat conferences are, by nature, no theological tracts, but meditazioni. It belongs neither to my theme, nor is it my intention to elicit from the meditations the entire theology of the author, which he himself has nowhere systematically presented. Here, we only attempt, on the basis of what we have thus far been able to prove, to give a comprehensive systematic overview, point by point, in order to make known Cardinal Wojtyla's general conception of theology against the background of classical theology. We can thereby only bring out the main points which pertain to our theme, the main principles which will lead us to Assisi. We further propose to give examples of the occurrence of such principles with a few significant passages. Since we intend to form an accurate idea of the Cardinal's new theology as such, its study is of paramount importance. Part 1. Before the backdrop of classical theological teaching on human knowledge. Christianity is a revealed religion which, until Vatican II, claimed to be the sole possessor of the truth. As a revealed religion, Christianity has its final objective foundation in God's own message to mankind, who is both summoned and obliged to submit to the faith as the Word of God. Theology is, as the term itself implies, the science of God. The material object of theology is primarily God, and secondarily created things, insofar as they are related to God. In discussing the formal object, one must distinguish between natural and supernatural theology. Theologia naturalis, which was established by Plato and which forms the high point of philosophy, is the scientific exposition of the truths about God insofar as they are known by the light of natural reason. Translator's footnote. The reader should not be too discouraged by these technical terms, which, when explained, are basically quite simple. The material object is what a science treats broadly speaking. The formal object is the particular aspects or point of view from which the science proceeds. For example, medicine, psychology, and ethics all have the same material object, i.e., man. But the formal object is different in each case, i.e., the health of man's body, the operations of his soul, the morality of his actions, respectively. End footnote. Supernatural theology, Theologia Revelata, is the scientific presentation of the truths about God insofar as they are known through the light of divine revelation. The formal object of Theologia Naturalis is God as he can be known by natural reason from creation. The formal object of supernatural theology, hence theology properly speaking, is God as he is known through faith, through divine revelation. Classical theology is per se theocentric. Correspondingly, Catholic theology as a science has its objective principle of knowledge in supernatural revelation, fides quae creditur, and its subjective principle of knowledge in supernatural faith, fides qua creditur. Its classical expression is found in the, quote, Catholic system of John Henry Cardinal Newman. In this spiritual cosmos of traditional teaching, every truth of the faith has its fixed place and exact meaning. Compared with the modern empirical sciences, theology is a science of faith sui generis. Translator's footnote. Principle of knowledge means either objectively what I know, e.g., a table, or subjectively that by which I know, e.g., the means of light. Thus, the distinction between the content of faith, i.e., the truths divinely revealed, and the act of faith, i.e., the supernatural light by which I believe these truths. End footnote. The break with the classical understanding of theology occurred with the arrival of the so-called New Theology. The results of the break can be seen presently in the wide spectrum of pluralism in the modern, quote, prolific theologies. We have briefly drawn a sketch of classical theology, mainly in order to have a frame of reference for the presentation of the New Theology of Cardinal Wojtyla. Before the backdrop of traditional theology, the particulars of the Cardinal's theology shine forth more clearly. We will begin with an exposition of the most basic tenets of the Cardinal's Theologia Naturalis and Revelata, followed by a treatment of the principles of knowledge in his theology, which, as in classical theology, are revelation and faith, but with a thoroughly different meaning.